Okay. You know what? The technology speak always gets me a little, but it's fascinating, and I appreciate the depth and detail you go into these questions and answers, Chris. So, if anybody has follow-up questions regarding what Chris says, put them on the chat. Chris, when he has chance, will likely get around to hopefully answering you. So, just stay tuned and listen intently. Chris, the next question, it's something I heard recently amongst just some of the crypto friends that I have. And no, they're real friends, they're not crypto friends. But I hear there is going to be a release of from the SEC regarding US crypto investors in the next day or two. Now, I understand it's more so specific in terms of Ethereum and whatnot, but it's going to set the tone going forward for the US crypto investor. Now, what did you know anything about this? And more so, do you have any insight as to how Flash could be affected, or is Flash in the clear? And what it
Well,
is that the regulations may be?
yeah. So let's just start with, what I'm just going to share my understanding. I don't have any inside information at the SEC or something like that. But the fact of the matter is, it's the Securities and Exchange Commission. They are focused on regulating securities. So the question is the coin a security? And the answer for Flash is no, it's not a security. And the reason is because it's decentralized. The other reason is it had nothing to do with the SEC, because everything that we did when we did the donations in the beginning, they were given to a company in Canada, and it was no US people were allowed to invest, or I should say donate. It wasn't even an investment. It was a donation. And then what they got back was they got back some coins. They got back basically some receipts, which are digital receipts. They got back a Flash Pre and a Mega Flash receipt. And then we had an airdrop from somebody completely different who decided just those people and a bunch of other people who were, testers. So we're pretty confident Flash is in the clear. There's no U.S. domicile. There's no U.S. presence. I mean, I'm here in California, but I have companies outside the U.S. and I do things through those companies. But it's for me personally. But it's not it's not something that I think is going to affect Flash in any way. It's a community coin. So that is Bitcoin. You have to remember, when Bitcoin came out, the reason why I've always said that it was probably a security agency who helped design it was because of the kind of legal construct they created around the mining. They never sold any coins. They never did an ICO. We didn't do an ICO. The people who are going to have the problems are the ones who have the ICOs. They're the ones who are going to have the problems. And if you do anything with anybody from the US, you're going to have problems, because now they're going to look back and they're going to say, well, wait a second, this was an illegal issuance of a security. And the problem people are going to have is now they're going to have to look at this like, what if Ethereum is deemed to be a security, which I think is entirely possible, what does that mean? Well, first of all, it only means that in the US. Now, the SEC is very influential around the world, but the other people around the world don't necessarily have to follow what the SEC says. They can make their own laws and rules. They're their own country. They may very well say, for this kind of crypto coin, these people donated. The issue for things like Ethereum, there was absolutely no KYC, which is know your customer. They have no customer records. People just sent Bitcoins to an address, and the Ethereum tokens were emitted out of a different address. And that's all it is. Now, if that's deemed to be a security, because as soon as you pay money for something with the key language is with the expectation of profit. Now, people are making a donation, and there's, a lot of these things don't work out. You don't know. And when they did it, what was in their state of mind when they did it? For Ethereum and those kind of people, they were like, we're just going to build something cool. And it might not make any money. It might be a disaster. It might not even work. And that is the the argument that the Ethereum people are going to make. The SEC is going to make the argument that it doesn't matter if it was going to work or not. It's just the expectation that people thought they were going to get something of value. And, that's the issue. So I think what you're going to see is what they're trying to do is they're trying to basically herd all the ICOs into the current structure that the SEC has on offer, which is basically Reg D and a few other things, which are, quite frankly, just not that attractive. And really what I think the net result of this will be is it'll push everybody outside the US, offshore. You'll see a place like Canada where they have a very, very good securities situation. But there was no interest at all in crypto coins. I mean, we had a Canadian payment attorney who helped us guide us through this whole thing. And, he just looked at it and he said, I don't see, there's no issue there. No one cares about these things. And because there's no law against it, you can do it. That's how it works. So, I think Flash is pretty much in the clear. And I think that, I say pretty much because, you never know. Bitcoin could not be in the clear too. They could change their mind and say, well, Bitcoin is, now when you buy it, you're buying it and it's acting like a security because it goes up and down, and mining is like there's a reward that comes out, even though it's random. You get a certain percentage on return. They could say anything. These are the guys who make the law. So let's see what they say, and then we can decide. But we're pretty confident that Flash is in the clear.
Great. Yeah. No, I sort of was of the opinion of that as well, after what we spoke earlier today. So I'm glad to hear it. I mean, not saying tomorrow may not, or whenever they do release that regulation or whatever they're going to be releasing, we're going to see a change in the market up or down. But I'm going to be putting some of my holdings into BTC, and then that's not Flash, that's other coins. But another question I had, let me just go through here. Sorry, I had some good ones. You've gone over what we can expect to see in the white paper, which is good, and you've sort of said that should be out for comments this week, thereabouts. I know that Deepak's been working really hard. Is there a set deadline just to sort of communicate that out in one hit?
Well, the white paper, I've got a very extensive travel schedule in the next month, and I leave, next Saturday. So my goal is to get the white paper, the first cut of it, out to the community before I leave. And we've got Crypto Viking, who did all the original design work. It's going to be a beautiful paper. He's going to do a nice job, I know it. And the idea is, of course, make sure that we have first of all, the technical details are correct and attractive. And to the point where one of our lead engineers said this will be one of the more attractive blockchains on the market. That was our first goal. Second goal is to upgrade and go through the document. It hasn't been updated for about a year and a half. I mean, this paper was written back in 2016. So the current white paper. So we're going to update it. Bring it forward. There are some new features that have come along. Obviously, a lot of new things have come on. New wallets, new exchanges, all those kind of things, all the news that everyone's aware of. That's the next thing. And then the question is, can we get this all done this week? And I'm 98% sure we'll get it done this week.
I'll hold you to your word, Chris.
98% of it.
No, okay, that's good. I hope that gives everybody some sort of insight there and what to expect in the coming weeks.
We put a lot of time into this because, the thing we feel that we really have to get right now, we have to get the governance really correct. And so we spent a lot of time looking at everybody else's model, how it's working, what we like about it, what we don't like about it. ARC, we really like their governance model. What we don't like is that it's driven 70% of the coins to be staked. The problem is that when you want coins to circulate, now all of a sudden, what's the main use of the coin? The main use of the coin is staking. And that's the problem. Dash has 60% of their coins are staked. And that's on a tiny supply. They only have, I think, around 8 million total supply. So 4.8 million of those coins are locked up. So it doesn't make it easy for, for these coins to get around. It makes the price a lot higher. But if you're looking at this from the long term, what you really want is you want the thing to get used. We have a fixed supply. The price, we never tell people what we think the price is. We only say these coins have no value. That's all you'll ever hear me say. I will never say, gee, the price is right now it's 228 Satoshis. It should be 500, and we've got this big whale who's going to come in. We will never do that, and we don't know anything about that. We only know that all we're doing is we're building a community, and the coin has utility within members of the community. And you can follow your own laws of economics and figure out for yourself what you think is going to happen. We think fixed supply combined with increasing utility makes something more valuable to the community. That's all I'm going to say.
Thank you. Thank you. And that's all you need to say. Moving on quickly, there was discussions in the last chat about different exchanges coming on board. There was one specific Canadian exchange reference. I had someone from Telegram ask about it. Just an update there. I know you said everything is on the table right now still, but I'll let you take it from there.
Well, as you know, exchanges, and I'll just put in, I'll talk about Mammoth a little bit too. Here's the thing about these exchanges. Anything that's licensed, it always takes longer than you think. It always does. And so what ends up happening, when you start to enter discussions with an exchange, they call us and they say, "Oh, we'd like to list Flash on our exchange." And the short answer is, we can't stop you. There's nothing we can do to stop you from listing it, right? Because it's open source. You can take the open source, you can take the blockchain, and you can go, and guess what? Next thing you know, the coin gets listed on an exchange. And that's actually happened a couple times. Other times, people in our community say, "Oh, I'd like to, I have a friend over at this exchange, and I'd really like to have Flash listed on this exchange." And then what we do is we say, okay, if people in the community want to do that, they can do it. And they can just go and talk to people at the exchange. And if there's a listing fee, they can do a fundraiser, just pass the hat among community members and pay the fee and get listed. That's happened a number of times too. So that's really the general situation with the exchanges. Specifically, we have an exchange in one that we've already gotten approved for, but we can't announce it because it hasn't become official. The US, there's one in Australia, and there's one in Canada. The one that everyone's asking about is very close, but it's not done. And as you know, it's never done until it's done. So that's the main status right now. Mammoth, I have some meetings this week to go look at the order book exchange. They're starting with OTC trading. That's the first thing they're doing. And once they get that going, then the order book exchange is next on deck. So it's really a matter of just getting, all the technical part looks like it's almost done. And from what I've heard, Flash is in there. That's what I've heard. So I think we just have to be patient with these exchanges. And I mean, some of them, obviously, like even when Cryptopia first started talking to people at Flash, it was like, "Oh yeah, we're interested. We'll list your coin." And then it took like 2 more months. And all of a sudden, one day, an email just showed up, and that's how we know. It's, "Oh, your coin's live." Same thing happened with Coin Exchange down in Panama. All of a sudden, one day, we got an email and said, "Your coin is now live." And we're like, "Wow, that's great. Let's, inform the community and get people to use it and start going and doing some stuff with that exchange. Support the exchanges that we have." So, keep in mind, the goal here is to end up with exchanges in all these different countries where they can do eventually crypto to fiat trading and provide that bridge for Flash. That's the goal. And I think we're getting, close to reaching a critical mass with that. Assuming we get this exchange in Canada, we'll probably know more next week. And assuming that we can get, the Australian exchange, the US exchange, and, and a few more that we have that people have contacted us about in the hopper. The thing we need after these happen is a large exchange. And this is someone like, who's the biggest exchange? Binance. Wouldn't that be great? Yes, it would be great. But I think there are a few more things we have to get in line first. The first thing is we have to get this white paper out, get the blockchain upgraded, and we also have to get some market making going in these different exchanges so that we start to get some more volume and the coin becomes much more useful. So in other words, all these human ATM traders can go and say, oh, I want to trade, I can take Bitcoins, or I can take whatever other coin I want to trade it against, and I can make the trade, and there's enough of an order book there that my trade can be done in 30 seconds, and I'm done. That's the goal.
Okay, thank you. That's a good update. And Rome wasn't built in a day, we know that. So hang in tight. There's always good news coming out of the contributors group with regards to work being done, and for those questioning whether or not we're going to get listed on exchanges and when Moon, just know that there is a lot of work being done on the back end. We're not just sitting back waiting for something to happen and for someone to do it for us. So thanks for the update there. I will hit you up once more at the end with a mammoth question, but it's a bit of a general one. So the next question I had was partnerships. Now, someone had asked, who is working on partnerships? I'm an investor. I'm a new investor. I see all these other cryptocurrencies building partnerships. Who was it recently connected? Was it Nano with Pornhub or something like that? Are there any sort of partnerships that you know of that people are working with, that there can be some insight or hindsight to?
Well, there are. I mean, there's a couple. There's one person that I know who is an expert in direct marketing and actually multi-level marketing. And multi-level marketing we're not huge fans of because people end up getting hurt with that. But there are some aspects to that are very interesting. And if you only have one or two levels, it's not really multi-level marketing. It's really just an affiliate program of sorts. And so this person has access to, I would say, the top direct marketers in the world. And these are people who have, 40 million customers. And he's already had preliminary meetings with them to talk about Flash and other things. And what he's looked at is how can we give these people a crypto wallet with a few other features and then they can end up with like a business that they can use and that they can get paid for helping people to establish new wallets. Now, if you think about that, it's a very, very straightforward, simple idea, completely legal, and it's actually viral marketing. It's actually great marketing because what happens is your network does the marketing work for you, and that's always the most efficient way to market. Now, how does that work? Let's say that I get one of these special wallets, and I give you a code. And you are now opening a new wallet, and what happens is that you decide you're going to share 1% of, and part of this wallet is, you will share 1% of whatever you spend through this wallet with me. Now, what's exciting about that is that you can go and get people who are friends of yours to start using your wallet, and 1% goes to you. So you can see how this grows and how it works. The people who have seen and heard about this are astounded because they know that even with 1%, it's a big deal. And it builds a marketing network very, very quickly. And the advantage of this is that it's not like a merchant who's in a questionable business. And the issue that you have, I mean, Pornhub is a big site, obviously, but the issue is this really what you want your coin to be known for? And you go down that way, you're going to end up with a lot of people who don't want to use your coin because they'll say, "Oh, isn't that the porn coin?" That's the problem. So what we really are looking for is more generic, utility. And you think about other use cases that are enabled with this Android wallet. As soon as you have the ability to make change, for example, this is a problem in a country like India. If I go and I buy something for 10 rupees and I pay you, or let's say it's 8 rupiah, and I pay you with a 10, I don't have 2 rupees change. How am I going to make change? Well, what people do is they give you a piece of candy. Well, wouldn't they rather have some flash? So they send it to the person's phone, they get the flash change, and they're off to the races. They're now collecting flash, and they're going to start, building their future using flash. That, to me, is the kind of application that we're focused on. And to do that with partners, the kind of partners that we need for direct marketing, for example, these are worldwide businesses, by the way. They have literally, between all of them, I was talking with this friend of mine, 1.5 billion people. And all it's going to take is the right model to, and it's going to be a few more features so that you can connect it up to an exchange where you have fiat conversion. And we're very close to that, either with Mammoth or these other exchanges. These other exchanges, one of the exchanges in the US is going to have fiat. So as soon as you have someone in the US that does fiat and we're listed on that exchange, and we can go from Flash to that other currency, now you have, and they're tied into the banking system, so they can do some kind of ACH or transfer to your bank system. Now all of a sudden it's a whole different game. That is what's going to open it up. And those are the things that we're working on right now. We have to have, it's 2 steps. We have to have these exchanges in all these different countries and different places. They have to have fiat capabilities. They have to have Flash as either as a single coin, or we're hoping to set it up as a trading pair so that people are going to use Flash to trade against other coins. And then because we can move Flash so quickly, I mean, anyone who's moved Flash, you send it and 2 seconds later you got it. This is the other thing. You can resend it right away. You can't do that with very many other coins. And that is the issue. If I make a payment to somebody, or I send some coins to settle some, account that I have with somebody, they may have to do the same thing and settle an account with somebody else. If they have to sit there for half hour, it's not very attractive. Flash, 2 seconds, you're done. You can send it right away. That was one of our design goals because we knew how people are. If you're in a small country, you don't have a lot of money, you need to, someone sends you, 10,000 Flash, and you want to send 5,000 to somebody right away, you want to be able to do it right away. You don't want to have to wait for a half hour. So that's the thing. When you look at the big picture of the kind of partners that we're going to have, we are starting to be contacted by some companies. We've looked at payment processors and people like that. But I think the big one would be something where there's something special, where there's using our wallet, because our wallet's quite good. And to make it available to people there are a lot of people who want to get into crypto. What's attractive about Flash is that the coin is still around 2 cents. Dash, $300. People are looking at this like, well, Bitcoin, almost $10,000. People are saying to me, I can't afford a Bitcoin. They don't know that they can buy 1/10 of a Bitcoin or 100th of a Bitcoin. That's the issue. And this is why I think Flash is very well positioned right now.
Well spoken. Thank you. Hope that answers that caller's or that person's question. So thanks for going into detail there. I've been asked to ask you about an outlook of Flash from an overall standpoint, like a 3, 6, 12-month sort of progression step. outline. Can you give any sort of outline, overview, quick synopsis?
Well, I can't talk about the price. I know that's what they really want to know. What do I think the price is going to be? Everyone wants to know, oh, is the price going to go up? I don't know. Is the price going to be, when's it going to moon? When am I going to get my Lambo? And
Flambo.
I don't know. Car shown actual size. Go on eBay and get a model for $50. You can get it right now. But that's not the answer they want to hear. But it's the true answer. The thing that, the outlook that I have for the rest of this year, okay, first of all, we're going to have the blockchain is going to get upgraded. The wallets, we're going to spend a lot of time on the wallet. And the reason is because, once the wallet is really, really super great to use, if you've noticed, what is it that made a lot of coins very successful? It's because they were really easy to use. And, look at Monero. Monero, as soon as they had a GUI wallet, because it was a command line wallet, well, who uses a command line wallet? The hardcore tech people, right? It's usable, it works, but it's not, it's not easy to use for normal people. They're used to pointing and clicking. So what does it look like for these kinds of people? As soon as the GUI wallet came out with Monero, Monero became like twice as popular. You had a lot more people who could use it. That's really the goal, is to get more and more of this usage. That's our goal this year. So we need to get on a certain number of exchanges. We need to be in all the major countries. We need to be at least something. So Europe, for example, you can get on 1 or 2 exchanges in Europe and you can cover the whole place. US, same thing. Canada, cover it. All these countries, you start going down the list, and then you start looking at the different applications. Once you have those countries, and people can go and get an account with an exchange, and they can use their bank account to fund that exchange, they can now buy Flash using their fiat currency. And the same thing is true in reverse. They can take the Flash, and they can sell it, and they can get whatever fiat currency back that they need to. Now, that is a key function for a lot of people. It's key for merchants. If you're selling something to people, that's a key. So this is really, that's our number one objective. We want to get, our other goal is this year, we want to get on a large exchange. And so, I can give people a hint about this. There were some over-the-counter acquisition. I can't tell you who it is. It's a very smart and very large fund that has bought some Flash. And what they're hoping to do is use their influence with some of these large exchanges to, build the coin up. Because right now the market cap for Flash, if you look at the numbers, it's $20 million. These guys are professional investors. They would not be doing something like this unless they thought they could do something with the coin. That's really the trick. So the next step is to get on this exchange in Canada and to get on as trading pairs in a number of exchanges, and then start to do some market making. Then get onto a much larger exchange. And that's their goal. That's what they told me they wanted to help us do. Now, getting on these exchanges, the big exchanges, are very expensive to get on. To let the listeners know, if you wanted to get on Huobi, Binance, from $1 to $3 million listing fee, $1 to $3 million to get listed. So, you better have a pretty good program, ready to go. And that's why you need to have a few more of these things fleshed out before you go to, you go Broadway. We're off Broadway right now. But that's what's exciting about the coin, is because the price is what it is because we're off Broadway. So, and the usage is not as great. Once you get on one of those large exchanges, it's going to open up a lot of opportunities with people who have payment applications and the like. And that's, I think, the big opportunity that we have. It's the big opportunity for this year. And, how long will it take? Could be very, very fast. These things, as soon as they go, the way it works with crypto, when it goes, it goes. And we just have to make sure that we're positioned so that if the market takes off the way I think it can, now all of a sudden, you're going to be able to take advantage of this. And, people who are coin holders are going to, they're going to be very happy. They're going to be very happy. So that's that's pretty much what I can say. There's a lot of things I can't tell people. We don't announce things until they're announced, but these are the kind of things that we're working on. So for this year, the goal is increase the utility, increase the quality of the wallet, make the wallet so easy that people, that basically the computer idiot can use it. That's what we want to do. So easy that grandma can use it. And that is, if we can accomplish that, and we're very close, our web wallet's great. And, but there's still some improvement. I mean, we want to make sure that the other thing we want to do is we want to decentralize things even more so that there's no issues at all with people can just go and download a wallet from somewhere, a bunch of different places. And what they can do with this wallet is they can do everything that they need to do without having to ask anyone for permission.
Great. And for all those people asking, when Moon, where's my Lambo? I hope that sort of quells your fears or any insecurities you may have. But as you said it in one of the calls early this year, the first 3 months of this year, the first quarter, we saw a lot of red on the CMC, the coin market cap, and our wallets weren't as plump as they should be. But that means we've also had 3 months of hard work and progression, and right now we're a lot further ahead than what we were in January. So as you said, no point going onto a big exchange if we still have a lot of things to add value and to build and to grow, and you don't want a half-cooked chicken. Anyway.
Yeah, but on the other hand, if a big exchange came and said, we want to put you on the exchange, we wouldn't say no.
Oh, so, of course.
But we're just playing our game, and we're just doing what we're doing for our community. And the more that we get further along, the more value it has for the community. And that's going to get recognized. That's what's going to happen.
Oh, no doubt about it. If a big exchange came, obviously, there's no questions asked. Okay. Cool. Nearing the end of our call here, I'm going to give a couple of shout outs as we near the end. But as I mentioned before, you sort of briefed us a little on Mammoth. Is there any sort of final word or something like you'd like to say on what's next, how long, due date? Go for it.
Well, I'm not going to put a due date out there because I've been wrong so many times, and it's just, the thing is, Mammoth can actually start trading crypto to crypto coins right now. They have permission from the local regulator to do that. So what's holding things up is that they wanted to do OTC trading first, because quite frankly, that is where 80% of the crypto trading business is. It's OTC. And what is OTC? It's over the counter. These are big trades that are off the market. So in other words, you're using the market to guide the price, and you're putting buyer and seller together, and you're doing a trade. That's how it works. And the volumes of the number of people who want to buy, for example, Bitcoins, it's off the charts. It's literally, people are like, I want to buy $1 billion worth of Bitcoins, in the next month. And I'm like, I don't know if first of all, I don't think Mammoth can do it right away. But the fact is, when we're hearing this kind of demand, that tells me that there's something that's really happening here. And you've seen Bitcoin make runs at $10,000 3 times now. And it's going back down again a little bit today. But as soon as it punches through, it'll probably keep going. Now, keep in mind, the price now of Bitcoin is controlled by the futures exchange, which is cash settled. That means that people with enough cash can go and set up, they can set up trades in different ways. They can go buy Bitcoins because the price of the future is cash settled. It's not dependent on having the coins themselves. You then can go and dump a bunch of coins. Let's say you take a short position on a future. You buy the coins, you buy $200 million worth of Bitcoin. You go and dump it on these exchanges that are used to determine the price. And you just sell it. You push the price way down. That's what I think is going on. And it's been done with silver. It's been done with a lot of other things. People told me that's exactly what's happening. As soon as that game can't be played like that anymore, I think you're going to see things really start to march up. But the important thing is the number of people who want to buy large volumes of coins. They're coming. And the markets, the exchanges are now getting set up to be able to handle people like this with all of the proper banking relationships and all of the proper licenses. That's the big story for this year, I think. And, the question is, how does Flash take advantage of that? And the answer is because we are, what's going to happen with this SEC thing, I think, is that a lot of people are going to look at, is this a utility coin or is it a security? And they're going to say, okay, if it's a security, where can I go buy a security token? Well, the answer is there aren't very many places you could buy it. And then you start looking at where can I trade? Where are the exchanges where I can trade a security token? Those don't exist yet. That is going to be the problem. Now, let's say that you're interested in buying crypto coins. You're going to instantly steer away from the security tokens unless you're looking at it like you're just buying stock and it might have value in the future. You are going to focus on the community coins. Therefore, you're going to be looking at coins like Flash and having a blockchain that has been established for almost 2 years that is on a number of exchanges. That is very attractive to people because there is a real value to having coins that have been out for a while. You've gone through all the bugs. You've got people who have tested it. They've done things to it. They've built applications around it. All those things are happening. So it's kind of a long-winded answer to that question, but that's what it is.
Great. Okay. Well, that sort of, we're touching on an hour almost to a second here, which is great. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to all the contributors in the group. The last month has been very good to everybody. There's been the release of the new branding, which looks fantastic. The website's been released. There's been a lot of work being done on the back end. Deepak and his team are working hard on the blockchain upgrade, the white paper, Crypto Viking, just in general, everybody a quick shout out. So thank you. Chris, any final parting comments before we hang up?
No, I just want to thank everybody. And, it's been this, I have to say, when you start looking at how Flash is going to touch people's lives in places like Venezuela, one of our users, this discussion started about 3 or 4 months ago. We had a whole team of people, a group of people from Venezuela, and they were like, how can we use Flash? We have this major problem in our country. Our currency is a disaster. How can we use something like Flash to, solve our problems for our daily living and to make a living? And the good news is, I think we're about to start seeing a lot of people getting a lot of hope in those kind of places. And that is because they have the freedom to go and trade and do things with as part of this community. And that, to me, that's the only thing I want to say is that, this is a community. And it's not a business. It's not, it's not run to make a profit. The blockchain is run at the lowest possible cost to run the blockchain. If someone wants to build a business that makes a profit, they're welcome to. They just build an application, uses Flash, and they can charge whatever they want to, and customers can pay whatever they want to, and that's how it works. But it's really it's really gratifying to see a lot of these. These people who are desperate, literally. And I mean, the average wage in Venezuela now is $5 a month. People are getting their pension. You know, they're sending, they're getting full payment on their pension, and they're using that money for, like, 20 years of work to go buy a cup of coffee. That's how bad it is. So we're hoping to be able to help people in a lot of places like that. And, I think that's what is so exciting about Flash.
Awesome. Well, I think that's it for the month of April, albeit we're in May. For everybody, I hope this phone call is a little bit clearer. Apologies for the last month. I'm working on my microphone issues. I will be hopefully getting an addition to this monthly call. I'm hoping to get in touch with James. James was unable to make the call today. A few technical difficulties, right? Isn't that right, Chris?
Yep.
We will get that fleshed out, and I know he had a bit to add. And as you know, as you may not know, James is a big part, a heavy part in the back end and wanting to make contributions. So I will give more of an update on that. But until probably end of June, end of May, that's it for us. Chris, thanks for your time. Who's going to win the playoffs, the NBA playoffs?
I have no idea. I'm too busy with Flash. I don't even follow it. Golden State Warriors. That's what I'd say, because that's what everybody in the Bay Area says, right?
It's a pretty good bet. All right, guys. Thanks, Chris, and we'll chat soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.